It's you and me, no place I'd rather be. Ding dong, hello, let's make this house a home.
Welcome to Spencer and Sarah's podcast. We are recovering from the episode we just recorded, which was out of college actor reaction to our first episode. It was a lot.
It was like the most like, oh, this will be cringy, memory lane. We're 22. What could go wrong? Just a million things just did.
Yeah. But it was just things I need to like sit back and soak in and
Process.
yeah.
But also like kind of a good marker of how much I've healed, I guess. And become more like in tune with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez Louise, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So fittingly, our outfit theme this episode was our frazzled fit.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely feeling frazzled, so I feel like I just put on my comfort clothes, to be honest.
Yep. Fully on theme.
Throw my hair up out of the way. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Our topic for this episode is our project process, to kind of talk about the process of working on projects. But yeah, so we wore a frazzle fit because I feel like that also works with working on projects.
Yeah, my self-care disintegrates when I am working on something wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it made sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We should do a quick check-in though. How are you doing?
I feel like where I was mentally when we first started recording and where I am now has completely changed. Yeah, I'm good. I got my hair cut today, so I look less like a member of the Beatles now, and I will be I'll be growing out my hair because I want it to be longer, but I had a nice like trim to like even everything out so that, or like make it look so when it grows out it looks nicer.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I'm that, and also just like I'm feeling a lot of creative inspiration for one of my projects. So I'm excited to talk about that for this episode too.
Ew, yeah, very nice.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm just being really soft with myself right now.
That's a great way to put it. I like that, soft.
Yeah. But I'm good. I have something going on after this that I'm like a little nervous about. I'll tell you about it later, maybe. But so I'm like kind of thinking on that and stressing a little. But I don't know. It's Sunday. I'm just trying to relax and just
Yeah.
like let myself wait. So we'll
Definitely.
see. I just gotta finish this coffee and maybe I'll feel a little better. But yeah, I'm okay.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're talking about project process today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how we work, and I feel like it's interesting to see how your process changes as you go also, and your mindset, how you approach things after learning what works and what doesn't work. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like I suggested this topic with a different project in mind, but my brain has done like a 180 with another project now. It's really funny.
Yeah, so tell me about your project. What's going on? Talk to me, girl.
Okay. I don't know where to begin. Okay, I'll start with the original project is that I'm thinking of putting my getting back to working on my one person show. Which I put off. I like haven't touched it in a year. which I think was good. I think this is like a one-woman show that I've been working on for 4 years, or it's been like in the works and like thought about for 4 years. And I think I just ended up putting it on pause because I wasn't ready to like move forward with it. I think I was still too close to it and I needed to like take time to like separate myself from it. And like part of that was like feedback I got from it, like kind of put me in an existential spiral. So I was like, I need to take a step back and like cook on it and like just let it sit in the background of my mind. But I'm at a place where like I'm ready to come back to it. And my goal is to get it up by next summer.
Ooh, oh my God, I can't wait to see it in its entirety.
Yeah, I'm excited. I reread it a few weeks ago and like I'm really happy with where it is. There's like a few tweaks that I want to make, but I'm like I think like written out wise, it's good enough to be like put on. So I just need to do it, and that's like I think the part where I struggle in projects is actually doing it.
Yeah, it always feels really daunting to start something. That is so important to you. You put so much significance on it, and when you care so deeply about something, you want it to be right and exactly how you envisioned it. Yeah, it's hard. It feels so hard to start sometimes.
Yeah, and especially I think like I've always like believed in like starting your own projects and like taking control in that, but I think it was really hard for me to like it's a project that's going to need other people to be a part of it, and I wasn't ready to share that yet. Whereas now, I think what's helped is like you and I have been collaborating on songs together, and like I've like found I really love doing that. It's been so fun, and I was like, okay, it's time to like do that in other projects as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So Sarah and I have been writing some songs together, passing lyrics back and forth and whatnot. And that this has actually like shown me how I work now. The best, what's worked best for me is I'm just weird with as soon as I have an idea, I have to write it down or something before I forget it and lose the spark. Yeah. And it's even better if I can like have a solid amount of time to sit with it. Some of the lyrics I've written that I've sent to Sarah, I've finished in like an hour. Like it just like flows out sometimes. But yeah, I've noticed as soon as I'm like stuck on something, can't figure it out, now I'm stressing about it, it's not fun, I move on to something else immediately because I don't want it to become a stressor. It should be fun to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the trap I fall into with finishing things, where I feel like I start strong, it's going really well, then I hit like the first roadblock, and if it changes what I thought the project was going to be, even if it's not in a bad way, if it's like just in a good way, it's just different, I start to think, oh no, it's not exactly how I wanted it to be or how I envisioned it to be, and it starts to feel less attainable. And I feel like that's when I start to give up on things, and I'm trying not to do that anymore.
I find that too. It's like trying to like learn how to be flexible with like it's okay to change it. Yeah, I totally relate to that.
I was thinking about it because I hung out with someone a few weeks ago and we were doing some crafts. We were making magnets out of clay, like it's that quick drying clay, and you can add a magnet to the back of it. I'm trying really hard not to say the word like right now. I'm really thinking about my words really hard right now, so I apologize if I sound weird. It's just I'm trying to train myself out of it. So I feel as if I'm talking really slowly and thinking very hard about what I'm saying. And they were making a lighter. It was very realistic. And I was looking at it and said, wow, that's amazing. It looks like a real lighter. I'm not very happy with how mine are turning out. And this person was saying, oh, well, I'm just of that mind where I will not finish something until it's exactly how I want it to look and want it to be. And I always thought that was like a really impossible state of mind to have. But I don't know, the way they said that to me really changed my mindset on it. So now I feel like I've let some of the perfectionism go, and it makes it easier to just kind of trust the process. And if something changes in the middle, like, fine, whatever. But yeah, I still struggle with finishing things just because I want them to be a certain way, and I'm resistant to change.
Yep. I feel that. I feel like especially with music, when like you have a certain idea for what you want the song to be, and when you can't get all the lyrics that you want it to be, it's so hard to return back to the song at another time in the same space. So it's like hard to make it what you originally wanted it to be.
Yeah, yes. I feel it feels especially personal to me with, and I'm sure you would agree, with music and lyrics, because I feel as if I'm now in an era of music writing where I'm truly drawing off of my own personal experience and my own feelings, as opposed to thinking about what's a more universal way of putting this so that it's relatable. Whereas now I'm not really caring about that as much, and I feel like the music is more organic because of it. Where the fuck was I going with this? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why I was saying what I was saying. I had a point. I don't know. Fuck it. It's fine.
Was it about returning back to a song after?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was. Yep. Yeah, because I used to experience that too. If I didn't write it down or record it on voice notes or something, I would lose what I was trying to say and not be able to have it quite be what I was thinking about at the moment in time. That always happened to me in the shower too. I get my best song lyrics in the shower, and then I'm like, I have nowhere to write this down. This fucking sucks. But I think it's okay, because now I've noticed too, I come back to things so often and have a new idea of how I want a melody to sound, or, oh, you know what, this wording will work better anyway. So I'm trying not to stress too much about, oh, that's not exactly how I was thinking of it. But, maybe that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think, it's just like a practice of getting used to it's okay to change things, and they tend to, when they change, it tends to be for the better. Or it could always be changed back.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a hard time to still, like, with the two of us, it doesn't feel hard because we're so similar and in sync a lot of the time, and I trust your opinion so much and think of you so highly that when I send you things, I'm not worried about it and it feels collaborative. But there have been times, like, sometimes at work even, I struggle, like, just to get us all on the same page. Like, I struggle in a group usually, you know what I mean? I just want things a certain way. I think I'm right.
Yes,
I have a very hard time giving up control.
I feel that. Yeah, I think that's something I'm interested in testing myself with my show, because I've written it and my plan is to act in it, but I've asked a friend to kind of help direct it, and I want to it's like very early talk, so like we have to like talk everything out, but I'd love to just see what someone else's vision of it, where it takes us, even though like I have a very specific way of like, this will work this way and this is how it's going to look, but I'm interested in like maybe expanding that, testing that, and seeing if there's other options as well.
Yeah. I'm interested too to hear your thoughts on this, because you will be the writer, creator of it. You have it in mind. You have a vision in mind already. Are you worried? I guess, how do you think you'll approach it if, when you start to involve more people, if they bring up something and suddenly it's, oh, maybe that would work in the show and I didn't think of it that way. Like, do you feel like it's going to be hard to let people in like that for something so personal?
I think if I was trying to put it on last year, it would have been really difficult. Whereas now I think it's more about like it's always been about like what the message of the show is, but now that I'm more like removed personally from like all the feelings of it, I think like as long as the suggestions are in line with like what we're trying to say and everyone's in agreement with what we're trying to do, I like am so open to like the collaborative process. I think I'm just like I think I've really missed doing that. So like having that in a theatrical space, I think would be really nice, and just to see what other people come up with.
Okay, nice. But that's probably the best way to approach it. I would have
Yeah.
such a hard time. I'd be like, this is exactly how it's going to be, and I will not budge.
I think it'll be hard to like I say all of this, and I'm sure it'll be harder than said, and especially with like if any of my own insecurities come out as a performer too. So then like how does that balance out with what other people suggest as well? So it's like going to be like a lot of like finding people that we work well together and trust to do it. So we'll see. It'll be a big test.
Yeah, that's, it's interesting you bring that up. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. I've been surprised that I'm not as stressed when things go wrong anymore. Because I've been trying to adopt this new attitude of, well, I'm doing this for the first time. This is brand new to me. Of course, I'm not going to do it right the first time, or, of course I'll ask for help and reach out and blah, blah, blah. I think it's such a cosmic joke that you only gain like confidence in yourself through putting yourself through the most vulnerable things and opening yourself up to failure. It just sucks. But that's like just part of the process. It's unavoidable. But I'm just starting to enjoy it now, I guess, or be okay with it.
Yes, yeah. I feel that.
Ooh, that coffee's really good. Sorry. I just started putting Chobani sweet vanilla or something, Chobani sweet cream. Like it's like a creamer for coffee, and it's just like the Chobani something, but it's, oh my god, so good.
Nice.
Oh, it's my second cup of coffee a day too, because I am struggling.
Nice.
Yeah. I feel too, another part of my project process I've really adopted is like setting hard deadlines for certain things,
Yeah.
For stuff I'm not sure, I've never done before, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I keep more of a softer deadline, but when it's stuff along the lines of, I just need to do this one quick thing, and that's the first step, kind of deal, and being like, I have to finish by this day, no matter what. Just do it. Just do it. Bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
I almost have to trick myself into being productive.
Yeah, it's like I've been trying to find that balance between like those hard deadlines and also like trying not to burn myself out as well, and like trying to find that balance, because I feel like I will hyperfixate on something, and like sometimes it really depends on like my mental state and where I am. I think it has to do with my period and all my hormones and chemicals, but it's like sometimes if I hyperfixate, it's really successful and I do great. Other times I reach a point of burnout, and then like it just like that's game over.
Yeah. I wonder if you have experienced this too. So with songwriting lately, there have been these little sparks, these little moments where, God, it's so hard not to say the word like a million times. I'm shook right now about how hard I'm thinking about this. I feel like I'm drunk. Like I'm trying to speak like I swear, officer. Kind of, that's how I feel right now. Yeah. These moments where the creativity has flowed in a way where I can recognize, oh, this is me in my flow state for real. This is me in touch with that part of myself, and trying to recognize when that happens and how I can put myself there And that's been proving to be challenging too. Because it feels
Yes.
fleeting. I'm surprised when it happens. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm shook when it happens because now I'm noticing it. So I'm trying to figure out how to capture that feeling, but it's hard.
Yeah, I absolutely relate. I've been finding with like every project that I do that's like very different from acting. I feel like acting is like my base, like creative thing that I've been training for years. And I found that when I do other creative things like songwriting, where you get into that creative flow state, it feels very similar to me when I'm in tune with a character. And I'm like, oh, what is this thing that I'm doing right now? And like, how am I experiencing it both in acting and writing a song? And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. Like, it's like a feeling I'm trying to grasp and be like, how do you get there?
Totally. Yes. Yeah, I love that you said that because I agree. I feel when that feeling is happening, it's the same thing with acting. When those kind of fleeting moments also where I'm just like, I am in it right now. It is so weird. Like it's me, but I'm also almost separated from it because it's a character you're playing, but you can recognize I'm in it. This is how it's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my struggle comes from the fact that because a project feels so personal to me, it's mine, especially with music. Writing music feels so vulnerable. That's why I'm so hypersensitive to criticism, and I'm second guessing showing people what I'm working on, and why I just kind of let it sit in a Google Doc, and then I feel at least it's alive somewhere. You know, it's not just sitting in me anymore. But I want to feel more confident in putting my work out there, and because I just want more from my life and my career right now too. I'm too old to be, oh, but is it good? Who fucking cares? It makes me happy. I think it is good. So why am I
Yes.
worrying?
Absolutely. Sometimes I think about all of the like terrible things that exist out there, and I go, the things that you and I are both creating are better than that, and the terrible things that are worse already exist. So it doesn't hurt.
Perspective
do
is
it.
everything. That's
Yeah.
fair. Oh my God.
And now time for a break. Our breaks have a visual component that can be viewed on our YouTube channel.
So what I usually do for a distraction break is to play a video game. My go-to is always Animal Crossing because it's cozy. Or I'll try to read a bit more in my book in my reading challenge. Or I'll watch my favorite show, Gilmore Girls.
My distraction breaks tend to be either video games by playing Sunhaven, which is like a fantasy Stardew Valley, or watching YouTube videos like the Try Guys, or reading a fantasy book, or just starting another project. And now back to the podcast.
I also just find I'm afraid to finish something.
So hard. That's
What's
so
that all
hard.
about?
It's terrible.
I know. Like, why? Then it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where it comes from, you know?
Yeah. I feel like for me, it like pushes the idea of finishing something like to full completion. So like whether it's like my show or like say you and I make this album, it opens up a door of full unknown of like it's like things might not change, but something new it's like a new timeline is about to be created. It feels like, and so then it's like, oh, what's gonna happen next, I think is where it goes for me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think about it with the album. If we finish this album and put it out, like, then what? It's just done. What do I want from it to be finished, you know? Is it just for personal achievement? Do I want recognition for it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I do find, at least like with what we're working on, I think I've been approaching it very much like just a personal, you and I making stuff, which is nice.
That way too, but there's also a part of me that I don't care how this sounds, I'm just gonna say it. I think what we're making is really good. I think our lyrics are really good. I think we're both really in tune musically. Like I'm proud of what we've made. I think it's great, and I feel confident that if it was shared, we'd, get some good feedback, and I feel like other people would relate to the things that we're writing about. So a part of me is like, yeah, let's fucking release it and see what people say and where it goes from there. But then it's also like, what if it's successful and I have to deal with success?
Yes.
That is horrible. Just as bad as dealing with failure.
I agree. I think it's even scarier than dealing with failure, because with failure, you're just like, you're
Done.
still here. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, you just move on to the next thing. Whereas success is like, all of a sudden, there's a bunch of things you have to start thinking about.
Totally. Sometimes I wonder if that's what holds me back from doing more in my acting career. What I end up actually having a career, like, well, not to be big-headed or anything, but what if it goes well? Like, what am I gonna do?
Absolutely.
Which is a crazy sentence to be saying, but it's like, it's true.
No, that's great. I'm glad you said that too. I feel like this is like like parallel to our episode of like the fear of success, and I think this is like I think it's important, because I feel like the fear of being successful is a real thing and a valid thing, and I think it's just not talked about enough, but I think that's why we start to feel stuck and aren't able to finish things.
Yeah. This is making me think of something too. My sister and I were talking about today. She's been listening to the podcast and we were talking about self-care, and she said something along the lines of, I think one of you talked about it in an episode already, where it almost feels scary to take care of yourself. Because then you have to face it, like face yourself. And I was telling her how much shame comes from, like, when I'm at my worst, I find it hard to just like take a shower, basic self-care needs, and which feels so pathetic. And then when I am like, okay, I'm going to take a shower, do my skincare routine, when I do it afterwards, it feels good for a second. And then it's immediately like, why can't I do this all the time? Why am I like this? You should be better. It's automatically a put down. And I worry sometimes if my acting career ever went somewhere really good, or if we do good with music, or if anything good happens, I'm just always dreading that moment of right after, oh, this is great, it's done, is like, well, see, you should have done this sooner. I'm so dreading the immediate self-shaming for no reason,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Ugh.
That's such an interesting like thing. It's not a great thing to experience.
I'm feeling very vulnerable right now.
Yeah.
I might cry. Don't worry about it though.
That's okay. Thanks for sharing. I think that's something I haven't experienced much, but that makes sense. Like that makes a lot of sense. I think for me, I think the way my mind has like worked around not doing that is like thinking of, if I finished this thing at any other time previously, I wouldn't be where I am now. Like it wouldn't have been that successful, if that makes sense. If I had just done it right away, I don't think the outcome would have been the same. Kind of thing.
Everything in its own time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think it's just the way my brain is, where I feel like maybe I'd get to that understanding eventually, but it would take me a long time after the fact. I'm not happy with the fact that my first reaction to anything, good or bad, is self-blame and self-deprecation.
Yeah.
I'm glad I recognize it, but I just don't know what to do about it.
I think that's the recognition is the first step. And
I guess
the answers
so.
will come.
Yeah. I am proud of us though. I mean, think of you say it a lot. You're proud of us for doing the podcast even. This is an ongoing project that we both work hard on and collaborate on, and the fact that we're past 10 episodes already is so wild to me.
Yeah.
And something we're putting out there in the world. And it's not like a crazy success podcast, that everyone's talking about, but I'm still proud of the audience we have and the fact that we do it at all. Like, it feels so good a lot of the time, which is nice.
Yeah. And I think this might be also like a good example for us of like when we stick to something, like starting to get used to that idea of like sticking to something and good things coming from it as well.
Yeah, I honestly feel since we started the podcast, it's changed my work ethic for the better in general. I mean, it's interesting just because I don't really remember how we did this together for Out of College Actor. Whereas now I'm really cognizant of the fact that like we are relying on each other to get parts of it done and bring it to life together. So I have to be on my shit and not procrastinate and be okay with being vulnerable about things. So yeah, I'm proud of us for sitting doing this and working hard.
Me too.
Yeah. It's interesting too to think about how I approach things now also. Like when I was younger, I used to put it off, and then just throw it all together at the end and then be like, well, why is it so bad? It's because I didn't put effort into it. Whereas now it's a whole different type of putting it off because I'm putting so much effort into it and I want it to be good.
Yeah.
How do you think your process has changed, like compared to your younger self to now?
I definitely think when I was younger, it was a lot of if I have a creative impulse, I need to do it right away and it needs to be completed then, otherwise it's not going to be finished. Like when I first started writing songs, I would write them in 20 minutes to an hour and that would be it and I never touch them again. Whereas now I think I'm starting to become a strong believer of like letting things cook, and like even when you're not actively working on something, subconsciously things are happening to make whatever it is that you're thinking about or focusing on work when you're next ready to approach it. That's kind of I think my big one. And like also not, I think I just have my brain latches onto so many different creative projects and ideas that I feel excited about, and so I've been trying really hard to just kind of balance the like allowing myself to be gentle with myself for wanting to change direction and work on something else, and trust that I'll come back to the other things if I put something down, and like knowing that I'll come back to it when I feel inspired to, and letting that be okay, as opposed to like forcing myself to finish something before I move on to anything else. I think those are like the big things.
I agree with that. And just basic organization has changed my life too. I made a shared folder for Sarah and I to put our music stuff into, and it totally changed the game because then I was like, it's all here. I can come back to it. I have somewhere to actually put it now instead of leaving it on my voice memos to sort through later. Like,
yep.
Yeah, I feel like I finally found a balance between organization and also free flow to let the thing do its thing,
Yeah.
Wow. Look at us go.
Doing great.
And it helps, again, to have somebody to push you to do it too, We have each other to keep ourselves in check and bounce ideas off of, and,
Yeah. It's great.
It is great. It really is. I'm so proud of us.
Yeah.
And Anything else we want to touch on for this topic?
Well, I guess I'll talk about the new thing I'm working on.
Yeah.
It's
Do I know already?
I don't know if I've told you. I'm not sure if I have.
Ooh, we're all gonna learn this together, team.
It's something I've again been working on maybe for like I've had this idea for the past 6 months, so I've been like on and off it. But I'm working it sounds so silly to say. I'm working on writing a book, like a fantasy book. And the premise is just an average adult woman working. She loves reading fantasy and smut. And she's just finished like this series, and like that's all she could think about. She's like really struggling to like just stay present in reality because she's just obsessed with the books, even though she's done reading them. And one day she's working from home, thinking really hard about her books instead of focusing on work. And then all of a sudden, a man appears on her bed, and he's a character from her book. And she's like, what the fuck is this? And then it just enters into this whole idea of reality being this mirror realm. And there's a bunch of other realms that exist out there. And the mirror realm contains people's matches. Basically, a long time ago, it was one planet, and then an asteroid or something came in and like hit the planet so hard that it broke off into different pieces. But there was like this magical center called the hub that like kind of still connects everything. And this big shift created one of the pieces became this mirror realm, which has like an identical person from the other realms that lives in the mirror realm. And so there's this phrase that's like to meet your match is to face death. And so it's like this fear of what happens if you run into someone, your match, basically. And so it's like a mixture of like that, and then I'm also interested in like writing the fantasy books that the main character is reading as well at some point. So it's like two different stories happening that like are both real in the world. So yeah, it's huge.
I love that idea. That phrase, to meet your match is to face death. Oh my God. Tagline for sure. Whoa, that's cool. I want to read it. Sarah.
I will keep you updated. I've just started. I've been trying to do like a lot of world building, and I've just started doing character development. And what I wanted to do is use tarot cards to kind of help me flesh out the characters that I've thought of so far. So I tested it yesterday with with the main like male character. I like tested it out and pulled the tarot for like what his like core essence is and what his core being is, and then what his obstacle is and what his future holds. And that like it opened up this whole like specificity to this character that I never would have thought of, and I was like, this is perfect. And it's like been this weird feeling to develop a character that has never existed. Like I feel like I'm making a person, which is really weird to me. I'm like I'm building this body of a person that exists now. So that's been very fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Sarah, that's so cool.
Thanks.
I want to read both. I
will. Once there's like this is gonna be years of a
totally
work, but I'll share things with you. I'm very excited.
Oh, that's so awesome. Wow, I admire you so much for taking that on. That's so cool.
Thanks. It came from finishing ACOTAR, like the whole series, and I was like, I don't know how to move on from this. And then I was like, what if I just made a book about how I don't know how to move on from this?
Genius, honestly. I feel like that's a relatable feeling.
Just trying to create my own reality.
Create the world you want to live in.
Yeah. So true.
Oh my God. Well, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. I want to help in any way I can.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
I want to read it. I want to read it. I'm very interested in this plot synopsis.
Absolutely. There was when I first had the idea, I was like writing out it was like really difficult. I was trying to do because I've never written a novel before, so I'm not a
Mm.
literary writer. um, but I was trying to like just practice writing out scenes just to see what would happen. And when I first thought of this, I was like, I don't know if I want it to be a book or like a film or a TV series or something.
Yeah.
But I was like putting it into practice to just write something just so that I have it and so that just to get it into practice, which was like really hard to do because you want to like just have it perfect right away.
Yeah.
But I was just reading through them yesterday and I was like, this is actually really exciting. Like something I wrote like 6 months ago that I don't really remember what I wrote was like actually like enticing. And then I practiced writing like smut, which I've never done before. And like I was like clutching my pearls. I was like, oh, what? I was like, this is insane. Who wrote this?
Oh my God. I want to read it too.
Yeah, I'll send you it.
Sarah. Oh my God. Well, I'm excited for you. That's so exciting. Oh my
Thanks.
God.
Yeah.
I'll be the
very
first
excited.
reader, the first purchaser of your books.
Hell yeah. Yeah, like even if I could just get my friends to read it, anyone that likes fantasy, if they want to read it, it shall be available someday.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
Mm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yes, that's the new one that's been occupying my mind.
Totally. Oh my God. I would, yeah. Wow. Wow. I admire you for going for it. That's awesome.
Thanks.
All right, cool.
Woo.
You'll have to tell us as if your project process changes through writing this book.
Definitely will.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Well, we should leave it there. Sarah left us on a high note. I love it. Very exciting.
Hell yeah. What room do you feel like we were in?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like we were just like chilling in the living room. Felt like when we would come back from classes to our apartment and just be like, "You'll never believe how my biology test went." The after class debrief in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
how I felt.
Yeah, I felt like that, or like sitting in bed, just chatting away.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree. All right. Well, I feel like that's about it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Yes, yeah. You can find our book corner on Patreon. We may or may not have finished ACOTAR by the time this episode comes out. Maybe we will.
I don't
Maybe
know.
the final episode might be coming out in a month or two.
Yeah, I don't know where we are anymore, to be honest with you. I just
a little lost in the sauce. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
But you've got ACOTAR book club stuff on Patreon if you'd like to follow along to that too.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week with our next episode.
Yeah, see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.